Hello and welcome to the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design, where we do like the salmon and swim river up for the galaxy's sake. Man, I hope the space bears doesn't get me. I'm scared. This is episode number 80. Progress for the player. I'm the learning game as the Sweaty.
And I am Lucho the farmer. Thank you for joining us on this episode. This week we checked all the marks and completed all the V's. We're finally ready.
Are we finally ready?
I hope so.
My God. Alright, but before all that, the disclaimer, the discussion here is based on our opinions and our own in-game experience. Everything we say here do show you, express, argument, all that could be wrong because it's tainted by our human squishy eyes and our live experience and everything else. So there you go. So what is the deep dive this week? The deep dive this week will be about progress and how to do progress in video games in general. But now that we have you here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified of our latest episodes and you are in YouTube. Leave a like, a comment please, or do anything social, share, tell your friends, everything else that your platform lets you. This is the best way that you can give us support for this show. So yeah, with all that all out of the way, my friend, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, why are we talking about progression systems this week?
Why are we talking about progression systems? I know I was on the good old internet.
Yeah.
On the interwebs.
In the interwebs, yeah.
No, I was looking through Reddit. I just came across this post of like a realization that sounds kind of obvious. It's just like basically a WoW is just a list of chores that you pay to basically do with your friends. Instead of doing your real life chores, you just pay to do chores in a video game with your friends. And I was like, yeah, that's video game for you.
Is that all the video game is? A list of chores that you do by yourself, because sometimes you do it by yourself, or with friends. In this case, in the case of World of Warcraft, right? That is the question. Is that all we're doing in games? Is that all the experience is giving you? Just like chores to do and nothing else.
I mean, kind of. Isn't life just a big list of chores to do?
Isn't life a big chores? I think we need a philosopher for this.
Nah. Overrated.
Are we transforming into the Sweaty the Farmer, the philosopher, and the game designer?
Nah.
Yeah? Alright, so why? I think this is more of a feeling that I actually think, that an actual thing. Because of course, if you boil it down to fundamental, a game is just a list of things to do that wants you to tell, that wants to tell you a story, in some cases, in others not. But it's fundamentally interactive experience, and in those terms of interactive experience, well, you wanna give players things to do on it, either by putting them a list in front of them, of giving them the freedom of do whatever they want. But you always start in those cases, you always start projects in video games like build a house or go collect X or Y thing. You do your own chores, right? Even if the game doesn't directly give it to you, right? But the point is that you should not ever feel like that, right?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
What do you mean by there's nothing wrong with that? Do you actually like to do chores?
I mean, a lot of people like the feeling of completing tasks.
Yes, but that's different. Right? Yeah, that's fundamentally what I'm like. The expression of doing chores means a different feeling than completing things. Right? Completing things is absolutely
not
cool.
necessarily.
Not necessarily in what way?
That those two things are not different necessarily.
Oh, okay, expand on that better. What do you mean?
That doing chores doesn't have a negative connotation itself.
Okay. Not necessarily, but in the way that this person put it, it looks like a negative connotation. It's like I do chores in my real life.
Really?
I want to do chores in a video game where I want to relax and do something else. But then again, we go back to is life nothing but a collection of chores that you have to do?
No. But did you read this person's post? That's not what this person is saying.
No, yeah, but yeah, he means it in another way. I mean that generally when people means doing chores, it has a negative connotation.
I don't agree with that, but okay. Sure, it's just a thing that you have to do, that's all.
Yeah. But
it's like taking out the trash. It's not good or bad. It's just something that has to be done. There is no judgment value in that.
All right. Fair enough.
I have to clean the dishes. Not good or bad. Just have to do it.
Just have to do it. All right. So
I have to feed my pets.
Yeah.
It's a chore. Is it good or is it bad?
All right. So what you're trying to say is like to disconnect this. So it has no connotation in any shape, way, or form.
It has no judgment value to it.
There you go.
In itself.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like that's saying that it's a chore doesn't make it a thing.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go beyond that, beyond what it means to do chores in video games. And what should it mean to do chores in video games? And it's more towards what means to actually progress in a video game, right?
I mean, it's because in WoW, the chores are just a task list that the game gives you that walks you through your weekly or your overall progression path in the game.
All right.
That's just how the game breaks its overall progression. It's just
a list of things
list of tasks to complete or chores to complete.
Yeah. So that's the end goal of the chore list that games gives you. Progress towards something. Progress towards a goal. Progress towards seeing the story that the game is giving you, etc. So yeah. So that raises the question of how do we define progression systems in video games, right? To know if the chores are right or not, if the end goal is good or not, right? Yeah. All right. So what kind of progress is there in video games? We have.
You tell me.
All right, I tell you.
That's what you're here for.
Yes. That is my job. I'm gonna tell you about it. So we have 4 types of progressions in video games. Generally core ones. They could be like side progressions, another type of progression, but this is kind of like the condensed ways to progress through a interactive experience for the most part, for the 80% of the video games that are there. There are some video games who are weirder and have different types of progressions, or there's some games that have only one of these types of progressions, right? Or 2, or all of them, or yeah. But they generally have one of these types of progressions inside the experience. So we have level progression, which is the normal one. You want to level up, open up more options in your character, etc. What is your favorite level up system Lucho? I know it's a weird question, but
Favorite leveling up
Yeah.
system?
yeah, when at the end you say, yeah, that was cool, and now I'm on my ultimate power.
I don't know.
No, he doesn't know.
They're all kind of meaningless.
They are kind of meaningless. All of this, all of the power progression, all of the level progression systems are kind of meaningless.
I mean, it's just that levels are just an arbitrary way of gating stuff.
Yes, because the point of level progression is kind of get you the time to get used to whatever you're doing.
I mean, that's the idea, but
That's the original idea of level progression. It is.
I mean, the real idea is not that in my head. It's more like when I think of levels, I think more of like tabletop RPG leveling, which is not too. It's just like a power level kind of thing. You just need a way to measure what kind of challenges can a group of players take.
Yeah.
So that's what levels are. It's just that now in video games they have become more of this content gating.
Yeah,
thing.
level progression could be intertwined with other types of progressions. It can be intertwined with story progress, and it can be intertwined with.
I know, but
Yeah,
but it's like levels on itself are just kind of meaning.
okay, but I insist they're a tool to get used to it, to the systems of the game without getting you overwhelmed with everything.
I mean, ideally, I don't know if many games succeed at doing that.
Not many games succeed in doing that.
I agree that what you're describing
Yep. All right.
would be the ideal scenario.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you're just trying to
Define it. Yeah. It's not that.
define it, but you're during the game time you're trying to pace out your players. So
Yeah.
they encounter adequate challenges or increasing difficulty.
Correct.
Out the door.
Yeah.
That's what the levels are designed for.
Yeah. That's what level
How many
progression
games-
actually.
How many games do they achieve that through like a leveling system? I don't know.
Oh, the thing. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, but you asked me which one is my favorite.
Yeah. I did ask you which one is yours. Yeah. Please. All right. The next type of progression is story progression. So generally, it's like, what do you have to do to see the next chapter of the story they're telling you, to go and uncover and talk with the next NPC, or to whatever.
That's a little bit more straightforward.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's just what is the next step?
A little bit more natural.
Yeah. It's what is the next step to see the next chapter of the story that the game is telling you. The next one is power progression, which is not strictly tied to level progression as we were talking about, because power progression can mean different things inside the interactive experience of a video game. It can mean as level progression to just get powerful and better abilities or unlock new things. But generally, power progression means power scale that helps you do more difficult things inside the game, right? It can sometimes be tied to level progression. Sometimes it cannot. And some examples are you power progress inside of, for example, any looter shooter, getting better gear. That's a way of power progression, right?
Yeah, therefore.
Yes. You get more power progression, grinding an activity, and get a benefit, a static benefit, like a buff, or a power up, or something similar. That's kind of the way of power progression. It could be gear. It could be level up and tied to level progression and be one and the same one. But generally, the better for me, the better intentional power progression is through gearing or actions that the player takes to achieve a better tangent in power point.
What about non-RPG game?
What about non-RPG games in terms of power progressions? They're generally tied to level progression, and then they give you like more tools or better powers or upgrade to your powers.
I mean, that phrase that you just described about powers and levels, it's very much tied to RPG.
Yeah. The other thing, the things like outside the RPG, defining power progression is difficult-ish, because, for example, in a competitive game like League of Legends, for example, what will you define the power progression there? You can define it in two ways. One, the power that you gain while you're playing the game and gathering resources to buy more power, because basically inside a game of League of Legends,
sure, but that's still something borrowed from an RPG game. Exactly,
that's borrowed from an RPG game. But the other side of that is like you get power by being a better player, which is difficult to define, right? That could be another tangent of power progression. You actually becoming a better player of the game. That will give you power, tangential power inside the game.
That's what I'm asking you, because many of the things that you have mentioned
are more tied to RPG. Tied to RPG systems.
Which it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Because one, like, RPGs have had a huge influence in the video game industry, and two, the modern landscape of video games, many more games are taking RPG elements, even though the games themselves are not RPG.
Correct.
Like MOAs. Are a great example of a game with a lot of RPG things sprinkled around the experience.
Yeah.
Even though the game itself is not an RPG.
Yeah.
So it's that's what I'm asking. It's just is this power progression tied up to RPGs?
Not necessarily. You can articulate power progression as become better in the game. Like in the case of Call of Duty, if you become better at the game by playing a lot, you are power progressing, technically speaking.
Yeah, but okay, then go to the next point and explain to me what that means.
What? The different progression systems?
No. You have something after power progress.
Activity progress. Right?
And then what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by activity progress? Generally, I will define this as the looser things in the game that are not tied to a story of level or anything else, like side projects, like building a house, like doing a side quest, getting all the cosmetics, and that sort of stuff. That's what I put in the activity progress of the game.
Okay. Again, all of that sound like things tied up to RPGs.
But you can have cosmetic in other games.
You can have cosmetic in other places, but like as a progression thing, the way that you just explained it sounds tied up to RPGs.
It sounds, but it's kind of like the activity progress is kind of every collectathon that you can imagine in a game where it's not directly it does not directly impact your gameplay advance.
Okay.
All right. There you go. So technically in that category will be going through a raid, do mythic progress, do achievements, and that sort of stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Explain that idea to me. You just said something contradictory, but okay.
All right. So the activity progression.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is getting achievements.
Okay.
Yeah, cleaning dungeons.
Okay.
Yeah, doing a raid, completed all the bosses of a raid. That's technically activity progress. It is encapsulated in their own little space and not tied to other gameplay progress systems.
How is that part not of power progress on itself?
Because on itself, it doesn't give you more power. What it gives you power is the gear that the activity gives you. Right? That is the power progress of the side.
You cannot separate those two things.
Of course, you can do an activity without getting any power progress. And do achievements without getting any power progress. Or story progress. Or level progress.
Sure, but then you're not really progressing towards anything.
You are progressing through the activity that you're doing, either to get achievement or to get cosmetic. What?
I'm not like you're not progressing towards anything. That's not wrong. Like there's nothing bad with that.
There's nothing what?
Bad with that.
No, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just defining what it is. I'm just saying what it is.
Yeah, but I'm saying like doing something in a game just for the sake of doing it is not progressing anything. It's just doing something.
Technically, it is. It is. If you're doing if you have a goal and you're doing X actions to get to a goal, even if it's self-imposed by you or the game, that is progress towards something.
Yeah, okay, but like we cannot include. We have to be careful if we're going to include self-imposed things.
If you want, we cannot include it. We just can include it to directly.
You have to be careful because then I can go to any game and
put
my own goal to do whatever the fuck I want.
Of course. Then
and just leave outside whatever it was.
Then just set it. Just set as a like all this progression has to give you a tangible reward at the end. Right? That's why I mentioned achievements. Like generally, a lot of these side things have achievements at the end, and that's your reward.
I know what you're saying, but like again, you can just go to a game and take part into an activity.
Yes.
Because sure, you like.
All right.
It doesn't like that on itself doesn't mean progress on any type of avenue.
It depends if the activity has achievement.
Yeah, but if you're not hunting for the achievement,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're hunting it or not. Progress will occur.
Not necessarily.
If the activity has an achievement or some certain goal that is going to give you a reward at the end, and you're doing it even if you don't know that you're going to get that, progress is occurring.
I don't see that.
Why not?
No, because you're saying that anything that I'm doing in a game will give me progress.
You say exactly no to that, right? You don't know unless you go check the list of achievements.
That's what you just said. That is what you just told me. And I'm telling you that I disagree with that.
But if you go, technically, if you go to a game and you see the list of achievements, if any of the activities that you're doing are tied to a final achievement, you're doing progress towards something. Even if you are not aware of it. Even if you don't even want to. That's what I'm saying.
I don't see that. You have to work to convince me of that.
Just tell you, how else can I explain it?
Do better.
All right. You progress in life you progress to old age. Even if you're not doing anything, you're progressing to old age.
Yeah, but we're not talking about life.
Yeah, but that's the example that I'm giving you. Like, if you are doing an activity in a game that has an achievement at the end, or something that you will get, you are progressing towards that thing, even if you're not aware of it, even if you don't want to do it. It doesn't matter. The system exists. The reward is there at the end. So you are progressing towards that, even if you are not aware as a player. That is activity progress.
So you're just putting there anything that you do in a game.
Kind of closer to that.
That sounds like bullshit. Like then you're just putting out.
Again, we're not putting. We are not. Again,
you don't know where to classify.
We are not putting self-imposed goals.
Yeah, sure, but still, you're just throwing like any kind of bullshit that you don't know how to deal with. You're throwing in that bag.
Kind of looks like that, but how else would you?
That's exactly what it is. You just, I just asked you. Then
but
anything you just told me, and anything you qualifies as progress. And like, yeah, that's just you're just throwing there any bullshit that you don't want to deal with.
Well, the thing is, like, you can do it like a lot more granular, but that's not the point.
That's not the point.
There you go. You can do it a lot more granular. You can say like, yeah, you have achievement progress, cosmetic progress, everything else like that you can fit there, right? But there's not worth to talk about those individual things.
I mean, it may or may not. That I don't know, but still, it just feels like that point is a cop out. You're just telling me, yeah, just anything do, and it falls into that category. So
if it has a reward at the end, yes.
But what if it doesn't have a reward at the end?
Then it's not progress because we're not talking about self-imposed goals.
Okay.
We're talking only about design-imposed goals, which is a list of achievements.
Yeah, but sometimes you can just go to a game and do stuff and not achieve anything.
Yes.
Like if I log into Destiny, I go to a location and I just kill shit because I want to shoot at random enemies on the face.
Yes.
I'm not progressing towards anything.
That is correct.
So, but you just told me a second ago. Anything that you...
If an activity has an achievement at the end, is activity progress. Right? What you're telling me is like...
But that's not
go
what
and
you just
shoot
said
random enemies. What? You just told me, like, if I go to a location in Shannon...
No. Sure. That's what I told you. And I asked you. So then anything that you do in a game will give you progress. And you told me, yes.
Anything that... If it has a reward at the end.
You didn't. You never said that.
Well, it was my mistake.
You never mentioned that at all.
It has to have some kind of reward at the end.
Okay, sure, but you never mentioned that
The
before.
most general thing is achievements.
Sure, but you never mentioned that before.
Maybe I wasn't clear enough. There you go. That could be my mistake.
That's what I'm discussing. What I'm fighting you.
That was my mistake. It wasn't clear enough.
That's the whole point.
You're right. Sorry, I live in my head. For me, it's clear. So, again, activity progress.
That's completely useless. That is clear in your head. That means nothing.
Okay. So, again, activity progress. Anything that gives you a reward at the end that is not tied to power, that is not tied to story progression, that's not tied to a level, as we define it as a pacing mechanism, right? So again, achievements, cosmetic collections, clearing rates, clear a dungeon, anything that gives you a reward at the end. Okay?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. All right.
Shouldn't the intention of the player have anything to do with this?
What do you mean by that?
that, for example, if you're playing a game and the
Yes.
game offers you cosmetic,
Yeah.
but
In your farming
you
cosmetics.
but you don't care about the cosmetics.
All right, yeah.
Like most of the time, by just playing the game, you will get some,
Correct.
even if you don't care.
Correct.
Should that be considered progression for that person?
Yes. You're progressing towards enlarging your cosmetic collection. Even if you are not aware of it.
But this is more than not being aware. It's just you don't care about.
It doesn't matter, you're progressing.
But that seems artificial. Because, for example,
Yeah.
let's say that I'm playing Ori,
Yeah.
and I don't care about the skins at all.
Yes.
I'll get some,
Correct.
but I don't get it. And my goal is not the skins. My goal is to climb up the competitive ladder.
That is fine. The thing is, like, technically,
Sure.
that doesn't mean that you're not progressing towards your cosmetic collection.
But for example, but it's not my goal. Like I don't.
Yeah, even if it's not
don't
intentional.
care.
Yeah, I understand. Even if it's not intentional, you're still progressing to something.
You are progressing to something, but shouldn't that be part of the equation?
That depends on the design of the progression. If it's because not all progression is attractive to everybody.
Yeah.
Not all style progression is attractive, but that doesn't mean that you're not progressing, doing stuff inside and getting those cosmetics. Even if it's not attractive to you as the final reward to get all the cosmetics.
Yeah, but at some point we're going to talk about like the time that you invest.
Yeah.
And the reward per time that you invest. So
Yes.
I don't know. It feels to me like the goals of the player should play a role in this.
Yes, when you define a type of progression, if the player engages with that type of progression, it should be rewarding. And when the discussion of the time investment, it should be fair in terms of time investment. But my point is that even if you're not engaged with some systems, you are progressing to some systems.
Sure, just by the fact that you're playing the game.
Yes, correct. Not all systems have progressions. That's the other part.
Sure, but that's not my point. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, you're concerned about the intentionality of the player, but here are we talking just about the design of the experience, not the intention of the player, not if the reward is... I'm not taking like if the reward it is word because we're going to discuss it after. Just like defining what type of progressions are inside an interactive experience.
Sure, okay, I see where you're coming from.
Okay? All right, cool. So for me, those are the 4 main progression types inside a game: level, story, power, and activities. All right?
I still don't like it. It sounds too RPG-ish.
What will you add or subtract from it then?
It just all sounds that it's all based on RPG.
Yes, but it is based on RPGs, but not all games have to have all this. As I said at the beginning, they can have 1, they can have 2, they can have 2 intertwined, they can have 3, or they can have all. Depending on the experience, depending on the game. How close or far to the RPG is. Or would you add another type of progression here? Outside of the technical design.
I mean, I would add something that covers competitive games on itself.
What, rank progression? That's technically activity progression.
Yeah, but just that you're tossing that's my problem with that category. That you're just tossing everything there.
Yeah, because
But
I don't want to go too granular.
I know, but what I'm saying is that for competitive games should have their own thing. Like
No.
competitive progression shouldn't be tossed up in the.
No, because I can take a competitive game and see what kind of progression has in this. Ranked is technically an activity progression. It feels in that category. And it has a power progression while you're playing.
I'm not saying that it doesn't belong into that category.
All right. So what is your problem with the definition?
I'm just saying that this is too RPG centric. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes.
And that shouldn't be the case.
Why not? How else would you define different progression systems?
I just told you, like, for example, I don't think it's fair to include competitive ranks into the everything bag. because
so you have a problem that I'm not being granular enough. I don't want to be granular enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intentional. I don't want to be granular because it's a conversation about general progression, not about progression in competitive games, not about just progression.
Yeah. Again, if you want to call it like for general progression, this still sound like you have 3 categories that are all related to RPGs.
Power progression is not 100% related to RPGs. Story progression is not related to RPGs 100%. You can play a story game.
Sure. If it is like
mandatory. Then what is the problem? It is your problem that I'm not being granular enough because I will take it. I don't want to be.
I just told you that is the problem. Yes, I told you.
So I'm telling you. Well, I don't want to be granular enough because we can't discuss the other thing because I don't want to go too. I don't want to go too long with it.
I'm telling you that you should be granular.
But if I go granular, we're gonna be here for 3 hours.
No, we're not gonna. That's why we have a script for this. But that's what I'm telling you. I feel like you're leaving behind, like putting too many things in the everything bag that shouldn't be there.
All right. The thing is, like, the other kind of progressions are not that granular. If I want to go, like, for example, if I want to go really granular into level progression, that includes a bunch of things. That includes about learning progression, right? How do you learn actually how to play your character inside a game?
The problem is that one of your bags is too big compared to other 3.
Yes.
Yes, that's a problem. I know that you don't think that's a problem, but that is a problem.
Okay, why is a problem?
Because basically when we're gonna discuss games, you're gonna most of the things are gonna fall into that everything bag. Not
necessarily. There is a bunch of mix of those 4 bags in different kind of games that we're gonna talk about.
I know, but like most of the progressions that we're gonna discuss are gonna fall into everything bag. Because it's too big.
The activity bag is saying is too big.
Also, our selection of games is very biased towards RPGs.
Overwatch is not an RPG.
No, but the other ones are.
Honkai technically is not an RPG.
It's an RPG. It's. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? It's an RPG.
We can talk about. We can talk about. I don't know, like, what the story. There you go. What is the name of that game? Limbo is not an RPG.
I'm not talking about Limbo. That's not.
I can give you examples where those categories works that are not RPG games.
I know you can.
So I don't know why you want me to be more granular into the activity progress, right? Because those activity progress are generally defined by RPGs or achievement metrics. And achievements, every game has achievements. Right? Yeah. And that's all of the activity progress that some games have, just achievements. Right? You can have a game like Limbo where it only has level where the important part of Limbo is have story progress and activity progress in the form of achievements. And that's it. That's all they have.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have rates or anything else.
I know.
So I don't see the I don't see a problem. We don't need granularity to discuss it.
We will. You'll notice that we'll end up tossing a lot of stuff into a big bag.
Okay.
You will see.
Okay. Shall we continue?
Yeah.
All right. Then the next problem is the balance between reward and time investment. Right? This has always been the big concern when you are designing something to progress through. That if the time is worth it, and more with all the recent controversies of the level boosters and that is better pay for progressing in a game that actually invests the time, right? But I think that's something that should not be broken. Like how much time will take you to get an activity, get a goal realized and progress through something, right? Generally, in terms of the level, in terms of the story, it depends on how long your story is and what beats do you have to hit, right? That's how long it will take you to go through a story, right? The pace and what story beats you want to hit, how fast the journey goes. Generally, a good story game goes through like around 10 to 20 hours of just telling your story.
That's a lot.
And that is generally the amount of time it takes you to go through a story game. Right? If you skip everything, it generally takes you like 5 hours to go through a heavy story game.
Sure, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't play many.
That's generally the metrics. It takes you around 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours to go through a story game at breakneck speed without like stop and sightseeing, which is part of the experience and everything else. Just go through like NPC, talk with it, see the cutscenes, right? Even we have to the point that we have some games which have been reduced to movies in YouTube when they just show you all the story progress through the CGIs, and that takes you like, I think I saw the what is the name? The infamous story progress as a movie in YouTube, and it was like 2 hours, something like that, without any of the gameplay. So it generally takes you around 5 to 6 hours to go through the story progress completely. It can take you more than that. Some games takes you around 11 hours. How satisfying is? That depends on the pace and how interesting you deliver the story, more so than the raw number time that you spend on it. Right?
The raw number doesn't matter.
Yeah, the raw
all the pacing and how well written the story is.
Yeah, exactly. So in that sense, there you go. But it's been always a problem with big activity achievement and the rewards, because I feel like this balance is heavily weighting about the type of reward that you're getting. How prestigious is that reward if the time investment is very high, right? So we're talking like emblems in Destiny 2, for example, when you get a permanent prestigious reward, or like finishing a raid in a very high difficulty when you get like up.
Wait, are you still talking about story progression?
No, I'm talking about activities progression.
You jump boats completely out of nowhere, dude. I don't follow your train of thought.
What?
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude.
Why not? I was talking about
abysmal. You're talking about time investment for a story game.
Yeah, I was talking about time investment for a story game.
Okay.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna talk about.
What was the conclusion for that?
That it depends. I thought we already get to a conclusion. It depends how do you deliver the story. more so than how much time it takes you to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's
okay,
it.
that's something that I said. Oh, okay. It was not clear to me that was your conclusion.
Yeah, that was the conclusion. That's what you say was where I was going.
Okay, that was not clear at all. You just completely jump ideas out of nowhere.
All right, I thought that we were here in this
transition.
I thought that we were here in the same pace. I was like, yeah, he took the conclusion where I was going. There you go. I can move on.
No, you have to make your transition of ideas clearer.
All right.
Left me behind. I have no idea what you were talking about.
All right, so that was the story progression conclusion.
Okay.
All right.
So now we're moving on.
We're moving on. Where I was going? You lose. You made me lose my train of thought.
Yeah, because it came out of left field.
All right. Yeah, the activity progression. So it depends. The difficult thing about activity progression is the reward at the end of it, right? How good is the reward and how prestigious the reward is compared with the time that you invested, right? I think
I don't know if it is like for those type of rewards. I wouldn't say that the important thing is the time that you invest, but the rarity of the thing that you get.
Yeah. So yeah, more heavily weight again with the reward that you get and how prestigious the reward is, right? That's
but it's not. I mean, not the prestige itself. It's all
the prestige could be how rare it is.
I mean, not all the time. That those two things don't have to be connected all the time. They are for most
part, yeah.
In most cases,
yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know if timing has that much of an impact in that scenario.
Like you're referring to how long it will take you to go through that progress. Like you feel that it's more important the reward at the end of the time it will take you to get there.
Yeah.
So you don't need to balance that. You just need to have a very good reward.
Not for those type of things, because you threw on that back all the things that are not that won't affect your experience in the game, basically.
Yes. For those kind of things, it's better how rare the reward is. It's like the achievement or the emblem But I'm talking about like I feel like being more than rare, being that like I feel like I feel more connected to the rarity to the prestige of that reward at the end than anything else. Like the rarity of that reward gives you prestige inside the game, gives you like a sense of accomplishment, as we can quote.
Yeah, no, sure. Those things, they don't have to be connected, but they're not completely disconnected either.
Correct. All right.
And there is a middle ground for that. My point is just that that the prestige for those things don't come from the time that you spend doing it, but
for getting it. So you're saying that that the correct balance of that is more important of like the rarity of the prestige that the time that you invest in actually getting there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It could be something that won't take you long to do.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult. And it's just something that proves, for example, that you're a very good player of that game.
All right. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah. So it's more important in that sense of activity progress. It's more important what you.
Yeah, but again, that's my problem with your.
But not with the time.
With your everything bag is that, for example, that specific approach works only for achievement. So, for example, on the everything bag, it's also competitive ladders progression.
Yes.
And in that case, then time it's a more important thing.
How much time will you take to get to whatever?
Like you wanna balance things out in a way that your players feel like they're progressing to a ladder while still being placed at the right step.
That is.
But if your players stall out, then they will leave the game.
That is not a. How do I explain this? That is not a problem of balancing that activity, because as we said, the balance in this, like, the balance in this category is how good how prestigious or good the actual reward is. No, how much time would you spend on it, right? So you can spend an entire year playing League of Legends to get to 2 ranks up, and another player can spend 4 weeks doing the same thing.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, but the prestige of the rank is what matters.
I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying is that you still wanna, like, you just don't wanna toss players out. Like, if you want your players to keep playing, you still wanna reward their time in that sense, anyhow.
They're still getting a rank. They're still getting reward.
Yeah, but what would happen to you if you're stuck for a year in a rank?
I've been stuck for a year in a rank, and I've been slowly progressing.
But that's think about what you just said. You've been slowly progressing.
Yeah.
So there's still progression.
Yeah.
But so the game is still designed in
a
way
I got, like, for 6 months I get stuck in a rank. I'm probably not gonna move from it.
Listen to me.
All right.
You just said that the game is still designed in a way that even though you're basically stuck in the same rank, you had a feeling of that you were progressing.
I have a feeling of power progression because I've been becoming better at the game, but not in activity progression. Activity progression is still in the same rank.
At all? You haven't climbed at all?
Nope. I've been playing this game for 4 years and I'm still in silver for the majority of the part of the game.
Stop playing that. Isn't that a sign that you're bad at the game?
No, it's not. Again, another good player could take a count and just go to the next rank in like a week. Yeah, but I do feel how to explain? I do feel that I'm progressing towards the power progression because I've been becoming a better player.
Okay, but if you're becoming a better player, shouldn't your rank increase?
That is another more complicated question.
Isn't that the whole point of a ladder?
That's more of a difficult question.
That's no, it's not a difficult question. Like, if you're getting better, you should climb the ladder.
I should, but there is. I
don't know what.
There's so many other factors in that is not a guarantee. To a certain point, like, it depends how good am I in the game. When I break up.
Isn't that a big flaw in the game?
No, why?
Because if you're getting better at the game,
I will probably get to a point when stop. I will probably get to. I'm saying that I feel that I've been getting better at the game. I have no idea how to quantize. I probably have progressed a small amount in terms of how good at the game is, but not to the point where I'm actually skyrocketing through the rank, right? And
I'm not saying you don't have to skyrocket.
Yeah, or like
it's not about going fast. It's about going, like, moving up the rank.
Yeah.
Even if it is slowly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about speed.
Yes, you're not talking about yes. Yes, I do get a point when I kind of progress, but in terms of competitive, it's difficult because it not only depends on you, but it has other factors in what you're doing.
I know that it has other factors, but that's the whole point of designing the ladder.
Yeah, at some point,
in a rewarding manner. That
it works.
Even though, it
works.
Okay.
At some point, I will get to a power progression point where I can start to go through the ranks faster. Yes. I don't know if I'm there yet.
Again, no, but that's not. It's not about going faster. You're mixing these two things. How that at some point you will get good enough that you will move faster. It's not that what I'm talking about.
You're talking about like if I'm actually progressing through the ranks actively?
You just told me. No, you just told me that you feel like you're getting better in the game.
Yeah.
And that should equate to you improving your rank, even if it is slowly. I'm not telling you you should be top 100 now because you feel like you're better.
Yeah.
But you should still be climbing up the rank.
I've climbed up. Yeah.
Okay, so that was my point. So
yes. Yes, I've climbed up. Yes, that is true.
So my whole point at the beginning of this League of Legends example, or of this competitive example, was that the game is still designed in a way that you that have put a lot of time into a game still get the sense of progression, even if it is small.
Yes.
So in that sense, like, timing is still important. Not in the sense that it has to be fast.
Okay.
But in the sense that it has to be steady progress. Because you're still, don't you think that there will be a problem if you're putting huge amounts of time, but you're just not advancing? Like, that will feel bad.
Yes, okay, yeah.
But the game still kind of tricks you, or not, into thinking, I'm progressing, and I'm slowly climbing the ladder. Maybe a slow progress, but it's moving fast enough that you haven't abandoned the game.
I see your point now. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's the whole point. Like if you don't give that to a player, then why
then they
would you
will
keep
eventually
playing?
get frustrated. There's so many questions there because
why wouldn't you go to greener pastures?
Yes, no. My point is, like, it's difficult to see that because rank inherently rank progression is that particular activity progression is inherently tied to power progression, and that is not linear. That it depends of the skill of the player.
I'm not saying that it's linear or exponential. It has nothing to do with that.
Yes, and that axis of power progression that depends on the skill of the player is difficult to see.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because those are humans. So how good or bad are you at the game is that what allows you to progress in that particular activity in rank.
I agree with that.
In technical terms, it should make sense that if you spend a lot of time in it, you should get better at it, right?
I mean, there is a big caveat that you can spend time and not
get better at it because you don't learn. Yeah, that's the thing, because there are humans which are the ones who are determining the progress.
But still, the game tricks you enough that you feel
it gives you side activity progression. So the way that it tricks you.
But for example, you're not in League of Legends for the side progression.
No, but I still get it.
Yeah, so that's my point. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I still get it.
That's all I'm saying. It's just that for those kind of progressions, you have to keep in mind that kind of timing. And by timing, again, it's not about speed.
It's about how much time investment.
It's about delivering the feeling.
Yeah, maybe in that point, we can think about how long a match takes you, or how long to do the activity that goes with that progression takes you. That maybe that's the point of balance.
That's another thing that you need to take into account.
Maybe that's the point of balance in that overall progressive system.
Sure, but
right? How long the repetition of doing whatever you are trying to get good at will take you.
But you get what I'm saying now.
Yes, that it should feel that it should work as intended. It should actually make you feel that you're progressing through it, even if it's at slow pace, or trick you into it, or trick you into thinking.
Pretty much. I mean, if you want to keep your players playing.
Yes, absolutely. No
matter how much you love a game, if you're stuck into something, you will get over it pretty fast. You'll just move.
Yes. In this example, I would definitely say that League is very good at it because it gives you side progression. It gives you like skins and achievements and level ups and random things.
Again, but I'm taking you as an example because I think you don't care about any of them. You're in it pretty much for the rank.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
You're not in League for the lore or the skins or the levels. So
correct.
That's completely relevant to you.
Yes.
So that's what I was talking about.
No. Yeah, I agree.
which is a complete different type of balance into achievement hunting type of balance. It is. It's inherently different. Because you don't have to make any of those. Like if you make a game where you're just gonna go hunt for achievements, it's like you don't have any of these considerations at hand.
Kind of.
No, because for example, let's say you assign a platformer, something like Meatball.
All right. Yeah.
Super Meatball. Say achievement to pass this level without touching the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to give any sense of progression towards that. Just it is what it is. You either get it or you don't.
Yes, but you still get. But it's the same with the ladder. You do get it or you don't.
Yeah, no, but that's my point. It is not. My point is that on the ladder, you are putting time and you're moving slowly towards that.
But it's not guaranteed. It's the same as the achievement that you give me. It's not a guarantee.
Sure, it's not guaranteed. But you still feel like you're moving towards. Like if there is no feeling of you moving in the ladder, then you will leave. Well, if you really care about the achievement, you just.
It happens. People get frustrated, but I see what trade-off difference have, but it's the same. It's like you don't have to, right? Because the important thing is what you get, not how much time will you invest.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the same on the ladder. The important thing is what you get. You get a rank. Right? The feeling, if you're feeling that you're progressing or not, is good for the game, but you still cannot progress. That's why they give you side progression to keep you entertaining and not thinking about the fact that you've been stuck in the same rank for years. Which I know a lot of people who is there, right?
Sure, but for example, for the achievement hunter, like
yes,
they don't have to give you any kind of side distraction.
But you can not get an achievement because you're not good enough.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. Even if you invest a lot of time on it, and then one day you come back to the game after years, and then you spend an hour and you have the achievement because you were lucky.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But and that's exactly the difference that I think competitive ladders should have. Because that was my point with your example, like with you and League. You're pretty much stuck in the same rank.
Yeah.
The game is still tricking you into believing that you're moving forward.
Yes. But that the game is just distracting me. That the fact that maybe I'm not power progressing and I will never move from that rank. But the game doesn't have the responsibility to actually move me at the rank because I've had X amount of hours into the game.
The game doesn't have the responsibility, but the game is tricking you into believing that you are progressing.
Is the game tricking me into believe I'm progressing? I don't think so.
Oh, that I don't know.
It's distracting me.
It's
It's distracting me from thinking that I'm not progressing, but it's not tricking me into thinking that I am progressing.
Isn't distracting you with the other stuff?
Yeah, it's just distracting me randomly. It's like, I lost that match. Oh, I got a reward for something. Oh, let's see the reward. Small dopamine. So it distracts me from the fact that I just lost a match. It's just a psychological effect. I can be stuck there for years and still not get bored of the game.
Nah, I guess.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is definitely a difficult thing to do in all the levels, in all the system of progressions you want to do. Generally, the easiest I would say is level progression, because you just want a good pace of how your player discovers their character and the power that you have. That is generally how level progression works, which is easy to do. It's just like evaluating an open beta how comfortable the player feels when you're giving them levels and opening up more opportunities to different gameplay through the thing. And power progress, which has been, in terms of rewards and investment, which has been the big controversial of WoW recently, which is how fast you get gear and how fast you power progress in pure RPGs. That's another difficult thing to balance, because grinding has to be a consideration in how much time do you invest on trying to get better power. Generally, it's the same with loot shooters. How much loot do I give you so you progress in power faster, or how much less loot do I give you so you progress slower in power? That is the metric, I think, in those examples, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just about basing the amount of content that the game has. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. All right. Rewards scaling and progression with difficulty. I think at some point this particular thing goes tied with level progression. What tools do you have in your hand, like at the beginning? And then more and more games is giving you a baseline. Not all games have a scaling progression working for them. They generally have a baseline and a difficulty that you choose, like normal, hard, or whatever, right?
So they have a scaling difficulty.
Yeah, but it's a choose. It's a choice. It's a choice, and not all.
It's a choice.
Generally, all the games have a choice. Not all are infinitely scaling. That was my point.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
but they have scaling difficulty. It ends at some point.
It's a choice. It's not automatic. Right?
It's always a choice.
Not necessarily.
When is it not a choice?
When you are scaling with levels. There's a bunch of games who has level scaling in zones, and if you level up, your enemies become stronger automatically. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. It's not always a choice.
I mean, but you still don't have to complete the content that is at your level. You can just stay doing the stuff that is below you.
Not all games works like that. There's some games who, if you just level up because you gain experience, the enemies naturally will level up with you. And the only way to stop that is like kind of not killing anything.
Yeah, but if everything levels up at the same time, then the level is not really a progression, more than just a pacing thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fake system then.
Yes, there's some games who works like that. There's other games who has that on top of zones with caps.
Sure, but
Yeah.
like for example, the case that everything moves with you,
Yeah.
then the whole level system is just fake number. That means nothing.
That only means how hard and what type of gear would you get.
Sure.
Yeah.
But again, but if the enemies are becoming as strong as you are at the same pace that you are,
Yes.
then what's the point of the levels?
Progressing through it and get to a cap or a point, because generally they are not infinitely scaling.
Sure. But just throw a base level.
Yeah, it's just a
And
pacing
then
tool.
every-
It's just a pacing tool. I'm not saying that is satisfying or there's a point. It's just more of the time in modern video games, leveling is just a pacing tool for the player.
Okay.
Yeah.
But being so there is no real progression in there.
It is progression because you eventually finish it and get to the cap normal when you.
No, but like, but you get what I'm like in terms of there is no difficulty progression.
No, it's probably gonna be more tied to access of power progression. So it's just a pacing for the game, but you could still are progressing through it.
I agree. You're moving through the game, but there is no power progression at all. Because
Yes,
if everything is moving at the same pace,
generally these leveling system pacing are accompanied with gear system pacing, so power gears, when you have no access to some tools at the beginning and then later has extra powers, yeah, and that could be accompanied with your enemies becoming stronger, right? You just have more tools to deal with it, or you have better gears to deal with it, or you have more variety of ways to deal with it.
But again, if everything it's moving at the same pace, and the level is just a number that is getting you through stuff,
Yes.
like there is no real progressing in the game. Like it just sounds like numbers getting bigger for the sake of numbers getting big.
Yes, but you're still progressing through the level.
Yeah, but like now, like
It depends on how you design it. It depends how paced do you get, where you have your checkpoints, how much power are you giving to that point. If you want to feel, if your intention is make the player feel a lot more powerful every time you level up, then you just keep your enemies, if you have difficulty scaling by the player, like accompany the player. If you want to make him feel more powerful, what you do is you just put the enemies a little bit below him, so he will always feel powerful. Or you can do something else. You can put him a little bit below him when he gets to certain power, and then when he gets to certain level, you can put the enemies a little bit above him, and then he will keep progressing and then get to the enemy's levels, and then you can have it at the same level. What you can do, whatever. It depends on what kind of experience you want to give them in the leveling process. If you want to hold their hands, if you want to feel them powerful, you just want to explore how your character grows, or what extra tools it gets. It depends on what intentionality that level progress has.
Okay, let me give you an example.
All right.
The Division 2 at launch. Like you will have the world tier moving with you.
All right.
So it really never felt like by me leveling up and increasing that number and seeing bigger numbers on the screen, that didn't feel like progression. It's just numbers getting big.
Yes, but you were getting you were getting better gear.
Sure.
And then
I'm not claiming there was no progression overall.
All right.
I'm claiming the leveling progression
Was what?
meaningless.
Well, that's an error of the game. If the level progression feels meaningless to you,
That's what I'm saying. That a lot of games have these leveling trick into just
that you feel that are pointless. That's what you're saying.
yes.
Well, that's a problem with the design of the leveling progression and the intentionality of it, right? The thing is, like, sometimes level progression is being tied to other types of systems unlocking, and it's just a pacing system there. That's why it feels meaningless, because it's just a pacing system.
That was my point.
But that's your opinion. And it's not wrong. That's not what I'm saying.
That's all the point I was making.
All right.
But you were fighting me on that for some reason.
I was not fighting you. I'm just saying that you're still progressing through it. The fact that you feel that it's meaningless, it doesn't mean that it's not progression. But it could be meaningless to somebody else. It could be meaningless for the other type of experience. It could be meaningless for the pace of the game. It could have meaning for the pace of the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Because what you're saying, so you have this list of numbers that were increasing as you were moving on.
Yeah?
But the real progression was happening somewhere else.
The real progression has some
yeah, which in the vision was getting better gear and giving you access to gear with more stuff and more interesting gear on its own.
Yeah.
That's the real progression of the game.
Yes.
The leveling up.
So for
just
you,
a number that is,
no. The thing is, like, no, it's not about being real or not being real, right? It's things like progression is a thing that happens, right? If you how you feel with it is something else entirely different, right?
Sure.
Right. So yeah, you're saying that for you, the getting better gear was more important than just seeing a.
I'm not saying that. That's the core progression of the game in the vision to get better gear.
Yes.
And
but you have to get to level 30. You have to get to level 30 to open certain activities. So you have to progress through the levels.
And all my point is that is an artificial gating.
Yes, because again, in most games, leveling progression is a pacing tool.
Yes.
What is the problem? I don't see the problem here. I see that you're telling me, like, I feel like it's meaningless. Okay, you feel like it's meaningless. It doesn't mean that it's less important.
I
because
do believe
because if it's a pacing tool, it has a use where the developers did a research with a bunch of players and tested how they adjust to the gameplay of the division and how fast should they get it, or financially they wanted you to spend more time in X or Y situation, right? They're design decisions. That doesn't mean they're right or wrong. They're just design decisions, right?
No.
And how do you feel about it?
No. Some of those are right and some of those are wrong.
Okay.
that is right and wrong. Don't give me that bullshit.
Yeah, fair enough. I was trying to be neutral, but okay.
There is right and wrong.
So yeah, but it's still a tool that you have to progress through, right? If you like it or not, that's not the point. It's still a tool. It's still a thing that you have to progress through.
It is a thing that you have to do.
Yes.
But we can agree that it was a meaningless number increasing. Like if you really think about it, like, you had to do it. There was no workaround.
Yeah, you have to do it to open certain views.
But at the end of the day, it was just like an artificial thing put in the game.
Yeah, it's a pacing tool. It's because in that point, when you spend that much time and you kill that much enemies, the game feels that you have the right to have access to the next activity. That is the progression that you make. It's a pacing tool for the developer.
Okay, but it's artificial. Like, that's not natural progression.
What? Everything in a game is artificial.
I mean, not really.
Everything in a game is made up and artificial and designed with an intention. How do you feel about it is something else entirely, right? Because it's how the developers succeeded or not into tricking you that what you're doing is not meaningless. Pure psychology. Yes, because for another person, seeing that number of levels advance can be satisfactory. You don't know. You're not that type of person. Maybe there's another game which that feels more satisfactory and have more meaning.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and we ran out of time. All right. So, I hope you enjoy this episode, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know what to say. That is progression for you is difficult. And sometimes meaningless apparently for Lucho, and sometimes artificial because that's how he feels when he plays some games. And not everybody feels like that. And there's a bunch of components into this topic. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. All right. So yeah, progression in balanced progression is difficult.
It is very difficult.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoy our discussion here. Yeah. So let's do some audience questions and feedback. Remember, if you wanna put your burning questions here, leaving it down in the comments if you're watching us on YouTube. Otherwise, you can contact us any way, shape, or form that you deem satisfactory. So, our first question of the week is: are remakes and remasters the same thing for us?
No.
No? It's a thing that I think we didn't clarify enough in the last episode. Because we're just putting everything on in remake. A lot of the industry refers to remaster as just taking the original piece and just updating and putting in a new console. But for us, what that implies, it means that they're remakes because you're modifying a part of it for it to work in new technology. Right?
I mean, it depends on how the technological change is.
Yeah, but that's my rationality why we didn't like make a clear distinction of what a remake and what difference of the remake or remaster, because it's just a bar of how much you change the original thing.
Yeah, right? like a remaster is. I mean, in a remaster, you're really not changing
Much
the stuff.
Yeah.
Not much, like pretty much at all. Like if you remaster a game from one generation to the next,
yeah,
basically what they do is that they take the same assets, they re-render them so they look good in the new technology. And then they change some optimization code and access code for it to run. Not necessarily. Like most remasters done.
All right.
It's just a visual upgrade of, this game ran at 720p. So now we're gonna remaster it for 1080. You don't need to like for most of the cases you don't need to change anything under the hood.
But there's some games
more than re-rendering.
Yeah, but there's some games who so the thing is like how much again
there are some games that have to recode stuff.
Yeah, or retexture or retexture stuff for when they do resolution scaling, they generally retexture stuff.
It depends how it was made to begin with it, or if they have the original model.
Yeah. So
or stuff like that.
I think what I will say is like I didn't force the distinction because for me a remake is a remaster is a remake, but it is a very low scale remake. to put it in
Yeah,
some shape.
it's about how much. Again, it's more about how much do you actually have to change in the game to make it work.
Yeah. So you agree? Like
Yeah.
a remaster is a remake, but in a low scale.
Yeah, and also people don't talk much about remaster.
Yes.
Because it's something that happens all the time.
Correct. They make
like
things running new.
For consoles, it happened all the time. Like developers remaster games to move them from one generation to the next one.
Correct. Yes.
Like it just if we talk about remaster, we'll be talking about
the same thing.
Every single game that changes from that
one generation
after a change of one generational console.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you. All right. And the second question is this week is, what is your favorite remake so far?
Remake?
Yeah.
I haven't played many remakes.
You haven't played many remakes?
Because I don't play many games.
Sadness. What do you think? Then what it is the one that will say, I'll probably play that is remake that exists now?
Nah, my favorite remake will probably be the Old Age of Empires.
So you will probably play the HD version remaster Age of Empires.
Oh, I have
1, 2,
them,
and 3.
I have played them.
You have played the remasters? How are they? Are they good? Are they retextured? That's my question.
Yeah, but they did more than that. They also changed field of views and they changed some of the rendering technology so that you could actually have the bigger field of views.
Ooh, so they change what camera distances and that sort of stuff?
Yep. Ooh. I mean, it's just like, for example, if you want to play in an ultra wide, you will see more of the map. Even if it's the same camera distance. Just the change in resolution will mean that you see more stuff.
Oh, but that means like they actually changed the rendering engine to give you more.
Oh yeah, no, but like the age rendering engine was super old.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're talking about a 90s game.
Yeah, yeah, they probably remade the rendering engine for it to accommodate white.
Cool. I know I know that, for example, the Halo thingy.
Yeah, the Halo remaster.
The remake, the remaster. They had a problem with that.
With resolutions?
Not with resolutions, but with AI. So
with AI, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so you could basically render more of the maps.
Yeah.
You could see units that were farther away from you. But by the way that the AI was designed to kick in,
you
could basically see enemies whose AI hasn't been generated by the engine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it feels super weird because you will see like the model just standing there at the distance.
So they had to, I don't know if completely remake the AI system or just patch things so basically to enlarge the triggering distance for the AI.
Cool. That is cool.
I know that was a problem.
That is a crazy problem. Yeah. Makes sense because that would be like the draw distance. That would be a problem of how long. And they just with the new engine you just have more draw distance, and if you tie your draw distance to your AI activation, that's a problem. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the Age of Empires have something similar.
Same, like
activation with triggers for events and like triggers for things to happen during the campaigns.
Yeah.
Basically, you could spot them from farther away if you're playing like in ultra wides or stuff like that.
Yeah. Draw distances, man. Yeah, it's just optimization of what you see is what is activated. So
it's just
more stuff.
Memory saving. You just,
exactly.
You're working with limited resources.
Back in the day.
It's still today you're working with limited resources.
Absolutely.
You don't have infinite amount of
No.
memory or processing power. So.
That's why you have a slider in your graphic and settings that says draw distance, because yeah. Your resources. So yeah. What is my favorite remake so far? Yeah, you're right. I haven't played that many remakes. I think I would love to play. I want to play the Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
I thought you were playing it.
No, I haven't had the money. I'm saving to it. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm saving
Yeah, but
for
no,
it.
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, I'm saving for it because I really want it. Yeah. So yeah, that would probably be favorite. All right. And yeah, with that, we close this very contentious episode.
That's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning in into Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter at LuchoPlank.
And I'm the London Gamer, and you can find me on Twitter at the London Gamer, on Twitch on twitch.tv/LondonGamer TV, where I stream. Follow me on your social media to know when I'm going live. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, do everything social. Give us your love. And tell us where we were wrong and what are we doing wrong. Please tell us. And thanks for coming to the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design. See you next time. Bye. And did you know most salmon will die as a result of exhaustion after spawning? A small percent of survival salmon will spawn after a few more times in their lifetime. So fish, you just live to reproduce, man. Just live for that sweet reproduction, and then they're eaten by bears.
Yes.
Yes.
And salmon are anadromous, which means that they are born in fresh water. They migrate to salt water, and they return to fresh water to spawn.
I wonder why is that? Is salt water too harsh for salmon spawning?
Probably. It may kill the eggs.
Yeah, I was thinking too acidic, or something like that. Yeah, may kill the eggs. That's why they go in. Is there any other fish that actually swims upstream?
I think koi fish do it as well, or something like that.
Really?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure that koi fish swim upstream too. So
or
what is your
something around those lines?
What is your favorite way to eat salmon?
With my mouth. You mean preparation?
Yes.
Probably smoke.
Smoked salmon? Ooh, sounds delicious. I like sashimi sushi. Just the salmon. A little bit of rice. What?
That's very good as well.
Yeah.